What up? Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. And on this channel, we talk about how to raise money successfully when it comes to doing a crowdfunding campaign. We talk about how to get your project funded, how to get backers when it comes to doing a Kickstarter campaign, and really how to launch this thing out of the gate so you can have an explosive launch and get very powerful results. This applies to Indiegogo, this applies to Kickstarter, and also many of the other platforms that are out there. And specifically today, I want to get into some of the Kickstarter video scripting tips that I recommend following in order to have a video that not only gets attention, but also gets you backers, gets you results, gets people excited about whatever type of project that you're doing, whether that's a physical product or something more creative in nature, whatever it is. I want to talk about that today in today's YouTube video. Okay, man, so let's talk about this. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman, and if you haven't yet, go and check out some of the other videos that I got out there. I also do a podcast where I share free education, free information. I also have a free course out there when it comes to Kickstarter. A lot of great information out there to help you when it comes to raising money online. So let's start with this. When it comes to video scripting for a Kickstarter campaign, I want to go through a couple of different tidbits, a couple of different elements when it comes to this, and really understanding what you need in order to kind of pull this together. So first of all, let's start from a research standpoint. So when it comes to research, this is, in my opinion, actually one of the most important elements of actually putting together a campaign. And the reason why is that it's almost like if you're a scientist, okay? So when you're a scientist and you go out there into the natural world and you're observing different things that are happening, different natural phenomena, a scientist is trained to be an observer. A scientist is trained in order to actually write down the things that they notice, the different variables, the different things that they see. And you want to be almost a scientist when you're going out there and you're trying to put together an epic, a killer Kickstarter video script. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna start to look at Kickstarter campaigns, look at Indiegogo campaigns, and you're gonna start to notice and write down things. So what are some of the things you might notice? You might notice things when it comes to music, when it comes to B-roll, and I'll kind of talk what that is. You'll talk about scenes, actors, shots, and also effects. So this is a noticing process, almost like an awareness process of just becoming aware of what are the variables that go into a particular video script when it comes to Kickstarter or Indiegogo, right? So first of all, music, obviously those could be upbeat, that could be something that's even romantic, that could be something that's scary, this could be something that's comedic, whatever it is. Look at the videos that you admire and begin to notice what kind of music do they actually use. Now, great videos out there, I'm telling you, man, great videos are hypnotic. And they're hypnotic in that you don't realize that they're actually pulling you in. They're pulling your attention, and all of a sudden, a couple of minutes have gone by, and you're like, oh shoot, like I totally forgot I was supposed to be listening to the music of this video, right? Because it's so gosh darn good. Same thing happens with movies. You just tune it out. You don't even notice that music is happening over a scene. You start feeling a certain way. Really great marketing, really great videos do that. So pay attention to what kind of music is happening in the various scenes. And I would also write this down and begin to take some notes, right, when it comes to this. In addition, the B-roll, super important. So what is B-roll? For a lot of people out there, you don't know what B-roll is. B-roll is just very simply, for example, if you're filming something, I just say that you're filming me talking, right, to you right now, wherever it is that you are in the world, whether you're in America or you're not, or whatever it is you're doing right now, maybe just passively listening right to this video. Then let's just say we have something else that we actually show. So we show a really cool panning video of Miami, which is where I am right now. Or if we're talking about a product, maybe also we show panning around that particular product and showing different angles of that product as we're talking on screen. So B-roll is just basically having footage which is displayed on screen while something else is happening. And a lot of the times it's to accentuate different functions and features and benefits of a particular product. So you want to know is what kind of B-roll are you seeing in these videos which you're watching, right? And just beginning to become aware of that, to notice that. And obviously if you write this down, it also makes it a lot easier. What are the scenes that are happening? What are the different beats that you're noticing when you're watching this video? Are there particular transitions? Is one part of the video, for example, about features and benefits? Is another part of the video more about proof and credibility? Is one part of the video even just more about talking about the story of the actual founders of how this product was made? What are the sections of the videos that you are noticing? This is a great exercise that you can do at home. In addition, just kind of going over this really quickly, what are some of the actors that are involved in this? Men, women, this could be even pets, right? What are some of the actors that are involved? What are the different shots that they're getting? Are they getting, for example, drone shots and like a really big overview? Are they getting shots when it comes to looking over the product or kind of a downward looking up shots? What types of styles of shots, even moving shots, right? As they're going around it, what kinds of shots are you noticing that the really good videos have that are out there? And finally, what are some of the effects effects that they are using. So for example, are you having certain text, which is appearing on screen in a magic style format? Are you having different things when it comes like a bar graph, which you see, which is appearing on screen, or different call outs, so you can actually call out certain functionality of the product? What kinds of effects are you seeing that are happening in these videos? Okay, so you've gone and done your homework. And again, you've been a scientist and you've really almost like audited or monitored these different types of videos, and you really gotten a sense of like what other people are doing. This is one of the easiest things that you can do out there, and you don't even need necessarily that fancy material. You can just do this in a notebook, right? If you wanted to. So this is a great way to develop what I call like more formulaic thinking. So I actually put this and a lot more into my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula. So this book is designed to walk you step by step through launching an effective Kickstarter campaign, one that gets you results, one that gets you funding, one that gets you the things that you want, man. And when it comes to people supporting you online, when it comes to actually building a fan base, having people be raving reviewers of your product, and actually being a part of your community. All the things that go into, I think, incredible, honestly, being able to do a Kickstarter campaign from scratch, I have put into the Kickstarter launch formula. And it's really a paint by numbers formula, a step-by-step process, a blueprint, if you will, that you can follow in order to get a particular result. And in this case, that's really having a campaign that you smash through the goal, and you blow past your fundraising goal, and you're able to see the kinds of success that you want. So go and check out that book. I have it on Amazon. I'll post an Audible version down below. And I think you can get, Audible's doing a trial where if you get a free trial of Audible, you'll also get a free copy of the Kickstarter launch formula. Okay, so let's talk about number 2, which is scripting. So you have done all of this research. You got a ton of research, which you've done, and you've really studied your craft. You've really studied what works. You've studied success examples, listening to my podcast. You've studied and done a little bit of your homework. Now it comes down to actually putting this into the brass tacks, honestly, of putting together a script. So as it relates to this, there are a couple of different layers of a particular script. Now, any great artwork that's out there, any great artwork, I'm telling you, man, it's all based on layers. You know, I think I'm thinking of like Shrek for something like onions have layers, right? I'm thinking about this. I was thinking about that concept and I'm like, oh my gosh, literally every single artwork has layers, whether that's a painting and you're seeing layers and layers of paint as the artist is making this incredible canvas come to life, right? Or it's layers when it comes to a book, a writer like myself, who's putting together thoughts and ideas and then having to structure this in a more interesting way and then put together chapters so that it makes sense and it's really bite-sized and easy to digest and very easy to go through and understand a new process like launching a campaign, and then maybe going through a revision process, an editing process, right? A lot that you go through when you're a creator in order to get something from nothing, just an idea in your head, into something that exists in the real world. So the same thing happens when it comes to a script. There's a layering process. What are some of these layers? The first I like to start with is the scenes that are actually happening within that particular script. Now you could also say acts, and within those acts there are also particular scenes, but let's just keep it very high level here. Let's say that there are different scenes, and these scenes are based on particular timestamps, right? Let's just work backwards. You could say, I'm gonna first shoot everything, Sal, and then I'm gonna figure out how to edit it down, and then I'm gonna try to get something together that's maybe under 5 minutes. And I have other videos out there on like the best time, which you should have when it comes to a Kickstarter video, but I'm gonna just kind of adhere to that. And I'm gonna try to do this. You could do it that way, or you waste a ton of time, right? A ton of energy. Or you could actually work on building a great structural foundation for your script before you go and you film this thing, okay? So you might wanna think about, for example, for minutes 0 to 30 seconds, what do I wanna have accomplished in that particular script? For minutes 30 seconds to a minute 30, what's the next thing that I wanna really communicate to the viewer? What is my communication objective? What should they be taking away when it comes to my script? And then maybe minutes 1:30 to minute 2, or minute 2 to then minute 3. What are the different sections that I'm really going to be trying to communicate? And in that particular section, what do I want to accomplish, okay? So you're gonna be breaking this into blocks, also known as scenes, as you're going through this particular script. And you know, like I said, if you want to get really fancy, it could be acts and then particular scenes within the act, etc. I'm going to keep it very high level here. So let's just say that you've done it. You've done that first part of the scripting process, and you have an idea of kind of what you want to go through in those different particular sections. Next, we're going to get into what do you need to do in terms of having the actual storyline going through this particular script. So we're going to make it really easy. We're just going to say voiceover and narration. There are many ways which you can actually illustrate story beyond just voiceover and narration, but we're going to keep it easy. So let's just say voiceover and narration. So that's actually what's being said while the screen, what's happening on screen while we're going from minute 1 to minute 2, the different things that are being said, the actual script, the voiceover, right? What is being said, the narration. So you would then write this out. So my next recommendation, aside from doing step number 1, step number 2 is writing this out. So what will end up happening at the end of that process is you'll have a written script in front of you of what is being said in order to match with this particular communication objectives going through from scene A to scene B to scene C, or 1, 2, 3, right? So you have certain things, and you can also judge, okay, was that actually true? Did I do that? Or do I need to go back and be like, oh, I guess I didn't really communicate that super well, right? Which happens a lot of times with me as well. So you're gonna go through that scripting process. And then you're gonna have this like written, if you will, what's happening on screen. And then I want you to read it out loud, man. I want you to go and read it out loud. And don't be afraid of your significant other or someone else thinking that you're crazy. Really, it's so important to read things out loud, particularly when you're a writer or you're a creator. So when you read that out loud, you're gonna get a sense of how long this takes you to read. And you can judge that against your timestamps, right? So then it's like, oh gosh, like I guess I gotta cut down this portion, or I gotta make sure that I'm shortening this voiceover a little bit because it's going way too long beyond what I actually want. So read the thing, read it freaking out loud. That's gonna help you so much with this process. After you've gone through that, I'm telling you, this is beginning to come to life. We're beginning to feel this zombie Frankenstein monster, like beginning to have a beating heart, right? It's beginning to come to life. Okay, next what we wanna do is we wanna think about what's happening on screen, okay? What the heck is happening when it comes to what's actually looking at on screen? What kind of camera footage are you noticing? So this is, to me, one of the most difficult parts when it comes to scripting. And honestly, I'll be very clear with you. Most people do not have the creative juice or just the creative energy to be able to put this together. So some people are more creative in that way and they want to film their own video. That's great, dude. I'm the same way. I love creativity. But if you're not like that, it might be great to actually work with someone else who is a little bit more creative, or to hire a video production service if you want to, or just to find a videographer who you can work with, or having a coach who can help you along the way. Whatever it is, you want to have someone who has a little bit of that creative bent, because that's going to help you get this next stage knocked out. So this is really imagining, visualizing, and really thinking through what is going to happen on screen. So for example, let's just say that your product has a couple different benefits. So let's just say that you talk about that immediately. You get straight into that. These are the benefits. You're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, so that way you can do this, right? And you can use this product in your life that way. So for example, this is super lightweight at this many ounces, so that way you can easily carry it with you on the go, wherever you're trying to go. You don't even notice it in your pocket. What is happening on screen while I'm saying that, right? So you might be, for example, showing how this is weighing on a scale. You might be demonstrating that in a few different ways. Someone putting it into their pocket and you barely even notice that in their pocket. You must also be that person carrying it with them and they don't even notice it, like it's nothing, right? There are many ways to actually visualize that particular benefit. And that's really this next section when it comes to on-screen camera footage, is writing out what is happening on screen as you're going through the script. So those could be things, for example, demonstrating the benefits, demonstrating the functionality. If you say that this is made out of titanium or this is made out of wood, how are you gonna show that, right? Are you gonna show, for example, the different concentric rings of wood? Are you gonna show when it comes to titanium, this thing like being driven over by a truck and why it's so rock solid, right? However it is that you're gonna visually show the benefits and the functionality, that's really this next piece. So when you complete that, you're gonna have the different acts, you're gonna have the actual voiceover narration or whatever happening there, and then you're gonna have what's happening on screen, right? What's actually visually happening. And it's kind of weird, and this is so strange, right? You're already doing a crowdfunding campaign. A lot of your friends probably think that's really strange, right? Obviously it's super popular. You can go check out my podcast. You got tons of examples of very successful people doing this, as well as my coaching students, as well as all the people who have read my books and my courses. There's so many people who have been successful with crowdfunding. That means it's still kind of a niche thing, right? So anyway, the point that I was getting to is at this point in time, you're actually gonna be able to, in your mind's eye, visually see this video coming to life. And I know that sounds so strange, dude. It sounds so strange, but it's true. And it's because you're beginning to get enough variables together where you can actually put this thing together in your own mind. So you could visualize like, oh, okay, so while this is being read, this is happening on screen, right? Oh, okay, I can kind of see how that might work. And then at this section, we're getting to the next scene, which is we're done talking about this, and then like this is coming together on screen. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm beginning to see how this could be actually filmed. And that's actually the next part of this. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfill Right today. Link in the description. So there are some other things you might be doing. I'm going to actually add here first, talking about the shot list, and we'll get into effects. So when you begin to get that process down, at that point in time, you're probably going to be thinking more about creating a shot list. So that's actually, what are a list of the types of shots that you're going to need in order to populate the visual effects of the screen. So for example, I need this particular shot. I need a shot in this location. I need a shot with this model. I need a shot with this prototype, this product. I need a shot when it comes to this kind of B-roll, so I can put this over on this particular screen. I need a shot, obviously, when it comes to this. You're really just creating a massive list of different shots that you need in order to begin to assemble what it is that you visually have described here with the script. In addition, you might also want to think a little bit about effects. So like now you have like all this list of all the different shots that you need to get, or the different angles, etc. It's like, okay, maybe around this scene, I should be having some kind of music like this. Or maybe around this scene, it'd be good to call out and really identify that this is made out of vegan leather, or this is made out of this kind of material, right? So the different things you can do there when it comes to the shot list. So I would say at this point, you are farther than most people when it comes to their script. This is a really difficult point to get to. And if you have gotten to this point already, congratulations, because I'm telling you, you are breathing life into this thing. And that's literally what I want to get to into this next point. So number 3 is pulling this all together. How the heck are we going to take all this information that we just put out, we just cranked together, worked really hard on, and pull this together into a real video? Okay, to me, this is very similar to actually, if you've created the blueprints for a skyscraper, now you're actually freaking assembling this thing, right? If you created a bridge and you maybe created some different things that go into making a bridge, now it's like putting it together. You're kind of manufacturing in a way, if you want to think of it that way, right? You're manufacturing a product, you need different variables that go into that process to have an end result, right? So putting it together. This is really similar to puzzle pieces. Like if you want to think of this, this is so similar, in my opinion, to where like you have this like desk in front of you with all these little puzzle pieces, right? And you're trying to then put them together into this masterpiece, which you can show your friends and which people will love. Side note, I hate puzzles, man. I absolutely hate puzzles. But that being said, so some of the different puzzle pieces. Number 1 is that at this point, there are a couple of different things. One is that you maybe have already set these things I'm about to mention, or you haven't. If you haven't yet, you're going to need to set a filming date, basically a filming schedule. On what type of schedule are you gonna be getting these shots? On what type of schedule are you gonna be needing models, different prototypes, or different things related to that. If you need different props, for example, you're gonna be going through and doing a filming schedule. In addition, you're gonna be talking about the production when it comes to the voiceover or the narration. When is that going to happen? When are you gonna hire the talent for that, or are you doing it yourself? And finally, organizing this entire process. This is really when you need to get a little bit more nitty gritty, and I'd say tactical, about understanding when, where, how, with who. That's really when you're getting more like nitty gritty with the actual schedule and putting these things on an actual calendar. So this is really the beginning part of pulling it together. You've already gotten to that point. You then have a lot of these puzzle pieces that are kind of on your little desk here. And it's like, now we got to assemble this together. So where the heck does this come together? Where does the art come together? So you've kind of created all these little art pieces, right? And now it's like, how do I pull this together? The way we do this is with the editing process. The editing process is one of the most important parts of filmmaking, one of the most important parts when it comes to making a product video. And this is really when you're breathing life into this sucker. If you're like Dr. Frankenstein, this is when, I don't know, the lightning hits your lightning rod and you turn on that switch and Frankenstein actually gets up, right? And he actually is moving around the room, which is really cool. So this is like when he's actually coming alive. The editing process is you're taking the actual filming that you've then done, all the different shots, the voiceover, the narration, the music, all the different visual effects, and you're putting that together frame by frame by frame. And you're then making it so that, for example, you're cutting down certain clips, you're assigning those different clips, you're layering different audio, maybe you're even doing some color grading when it comes to the actual footage of the film or the video that you're making. You're putting this all together using, I like to use Final Cut Pro. You can use Final Cut Pro. You could technically probably use iMovie. You can use Premiere Pro. You can use any of these different ones that are out there, right? Or you can have someone else do this for you. So this is a really important process. And at that point in time, you begin to actually have some kind of a product which you can show and which you can actually get feedback on. That's kind of the next most important element here. So two things. One is that I have a great free course, man, that's going through all of this and more when it comes to launching effective Kickstarter campaigns. So go and check out my free course down below. I'll link it up down below. It's at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. If you like my video today, you're gonna love the information that I share in that free course at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. In addition, I do one-on-one intensive coaching calls where basically we go through the step-by-step process of launching a campaign for you, get it really customized, specific to your campaign, your category, what you're trying to do, and as well talk about like what do you actually really need to do in order to smash your goal, blow past that, the things that need to go into an actual effective campaign, and also using this incredible library which I have in my head of all these campaigns that I've worked with, all the campaigns I've seen, and really applying this to you so you have kind of, you go away from that call, and it's almost like you put this campaign, you've supercharged it, and in addition, you're armed with many tools and resources to help you along the way. I've had so many people who do my long-term coaching. I've had so many people who end up working with me in some kind of capacity role in my courses, my programs, all that kind of stuff. And I'm telling you that I've never had someone say they didn't value that one-on-one intensive coaching call. So go and check it out down below at crowdcrux.com/coaching. Okay, let's get into the next part of the process here, which is really the editing process, right? So the editing process, this is again, when you're getting what I call it going through a feedback loop. Okay, so this is the feedback loop, which you're going through. So it's kind of like a bunch of different iterations, kind of. It's almost similar to your product, honestly, with iterations you're going through. So it's like you're going through these iterations, you're getting some feedback when it comes to the editing. Maybe you're getting feedback from your team, from your coach, from your mentors, from yourself, from everyone in your life, right? And you're kind of incorporating that feedback. You're then giving feedback when it comes to editor, and then it goes through another revision process, right? And then maybe you need a certain cut when it comes to social media, goes through a revision process, goes through a revision process. And the more that it goes through this process of revision, it's kind of like if you have a bunch of different like rocks and you put all these rocks into a rock tumbler, and then you're tumbling this thing and it gets really, really smooth, almost like pebble-like stones. So cool when it comes out the other side, right? Same thing with the revision and editing process, is that the more it goes through this process, and there is obviously diminishing returns when it comes to this, but the better and better it gets. And eventually you get your end product, which pops out the other side. So I did want to make a longer video for you on this. I think there's so many BS videos out there when it comes to actually how to script a Kickstarter video. I think there's so much BS in general, right? When it comes to this niche, when it comes to crowdfunding, Kickstarter. That's one of the reasons why I am so obsessive and passionate about crowdfunding and putting out good quality information for you. So if you support that mission of helping you reach your full potential, of really putting out quality education and information in this industry when it comes to tips, advice, tactics, resources, strategy, all that kind of stuff, make sure you give me a thumbs up on this video. Come subscribe for more content like this. Leave a comment down below showing some love. If you want to learn more about the things that I mentioned in this video, whether that's Kickstarter Launch Formula, free course, coaching, go and check out the links down below in the description of this video. But thank you so much. My name is Salvador Briggman, and I will see you next time.